Hello, good morning. A very warm welcome to you today. It is halfway through the week. It is Wednesday. I'm going to be making with you some necklaces today. We've got some lovely colours. They're all in keeping in terms of their colour. It is a bit of a hybrid in terms of technique. It's a stitch project kind of, and it's a stringing project as well. So it's a really good beginner friendly techniques to use. Really, I'm going to be using some Tigertail, and I'm going to be using some Fireline as well this morning. Now the reason why I'm combining both materials is your Fireline has got a really good strength and durability to it. It's also quite resistant when it comes to stretching and tangling, so you're not going to get it's not going to fray, things like that. It's not going to split. It doesn't require waxing, but it will give you a lovely kind of fluidity to a part of the necklace. The other part of the necklace that's going to run around the main body of the neckline is going to be with Tigertail, and I've used that because I think it's going to hold the shape that I'm hoping for. So you don't have to worry too much about tension in this. I'm using two sizes of glass pearls. I've got a 3mm pearl and an 8mm pearl as well. And I'm going to just do a section for you today and show you how that is made. I'm also going to mix my colours just for the fact that you're going to have enough in your kits to make a beautiful necklace, but I don't quite have enough beads of the 3mm left, so I'm going to do a little bit of a mix and a match just so you can see how that works. Before we start, I'm going to say a quick good morning to everybody. So thank you so much for joining me. Anastasia's in, wishing everyone peace and love and a good morning. Good morning to you. Rachel's in as well, in a sunny Barrow. It's not sunny here, it's very overcast, but it's not raining, so there you go. Can't have it all. Good morning to Carol. Joanna's in as well. She says good morning from a sunny but chilly Coventry. No granddaughters with her today. She's staying at home with her mummy. Good morning to Just Me. Good morning to Lisa. Hello to Camille. She says she's got blue skies and she's hoping everyone is well. So a bit of a mixed bag weather-wise. I don't have the blue skies. I will show you them down on the mat, and I'll take you over to the website as well. So here is what we're going to be making today. The main part of the necklace is going to contain the 3mm and the 8mm pearls, and then we're going to create little swags that run all the way around the neckline, and it looks very, very pretty. So I've got lots of lovely colours for you. I've got a red, like a ruby red, which is very Christmas-like. I have a lovely pink, so you can see that I've got a nice fluidity with that. I can position those pearls so they'll hang around, kind of like a scalloped edge. I also have a lovely light purple colour for you on the silver colourway. Joanne says, ooh, very pretty. I've got a gorgeous green, and I think the green and the red are going to look rather festive. I might even add in a couple of the golds as well. So let me just position that properly. When it's on, it sits nice, but obviously I've had them a little bit tangled on my desk. So that one is the lovely green colourway. We have these that look lovely together as well, to be honest. We do have a multi-buy offer. If you wanted to buy two colours, you can make them all predominantly in one colour like I'm doing here. So I've got, I think that's an iceberg blue. So you could make it all with one, or if you wanted to, you could add in a different colour and you could change some of the kind of scalloping colours. They'd also look really pretty if you wanted to layer them up. So there are gorgeous colours for you today. I'll take you over to the website now so you can have a little look. If you would like to buy these kits and you would like to make along with me, everything's going to be in there aside from a needle. I am using a needle for the Fireline, but of course you've probably got one at home, and if you haven't, you can add one into your basket as well. So head over to totallybeads.co.uk, which is here in the video tutorial section. So all you need to do is go into the jewellery making category and drop down, or if you go onto the main page when you first come onto the website, you will see all our lovely bits and bobs. And right here, we'll have video tutorials. These move across, so there's different ways to get into it. Of course, if you need to change your currency, you can do that at the top of the page as well. So today I've named them Dolores. So they're the Dolores necklaces. And if you click in here, you can see all the lovely colours. So I've got an apricot, which uses two closely colour matched sizes of beads. That's on the gold colourway. I've got a green, which is the same green on the 8 and the 3mm. They are on the gold as well. When I say they're on the gold, just your findings, so your clasp, your callottes, your crimp beads. I have a lovely iceberg blue, which is on a silver clasp. I've got the light purple, which is on a silver clasp. I've got a pink on the silver clasp and a ruby red on the gold as well. All of your kits are £5.99, but we have got a 2 for £10 offer. If you wanted to buy two of the same colours or you wanted to mix them around, you can absolutely do that. And you can make one up in one full colour, or you could swap the beads around if you wanted. So I'll show you very quickly what they look like. I have taken pictures of them on the bust as well. In fact, if I get my bust, you will be able to see how they look when they're on as well and how they're positioned. So this one here is the apricot. It's £5.99 or 2 for £10. Your kit is going to make one necklace up, and it's going to contain your glass pearl rounds in the 3 and the 8mm, your tiger tail, your thread. I'm using Fireline. It's going to be including your callottes, your crimp beads, your jump rings, and a little toggle clasp. I'm using a pretty rope toggle today. So that one is your apricot, and the bead sizes that will be included in terms of that kit is your 8 and your 3, and the 3's in the peach and the 8 is in the golden haze. So that's how they look together when that is completed. It's not a very long project. It's just a case of threading on beads, really, and once you've counted, then you're good to go. This one is your green colourway. Again, still £5.99 or 2 for £10, and we have those lovely little scalloped edges there running across in the green. So all of your kits will be the same. It'll just be your components in terms of your clasp and your toggle that changes colour, and of course the beads. This one here is a very, very pretty blue iceberg. I've got a light purple for you as well. And they sit really nice on the neckline and really comfortable to wear. We've got rosewood, which looks like this. Again, just creating those little scalloped edges by running back through the beads. And lastly, but by no means least, we have this beautiful ruby red. Love this colour, really, really do. It's a very sophisticated red. And I don't really wear red jewellery, but this one is what I'm loving today. So they're the Dolores pearl necklaces. If you want to head over to totalybeads.co.uk and into the video tutorial section, anything you want, you can just click on and add into basket. Do apologise if I sound a little bit nasal today. My throat's feeling better. It has been sore, but I'm now starting to get a little bit congested. Good morning to Jan. How are you doing? Sally's in as well. She says, oh, she's got a poorly grandson with her. I hope you're feeling better. She says, he's here with me in sunny Barnsley. I love it. I hope he's feeling better. Good morning to you, Grayson. Just have a nice relax today. And I'm in sympathy with you because I'm not running on or firing on all cylinders either. A good morning to Anne. She's in a sunny Yorkshire. She says, no electricity today. The power company's doing maintenance. Well, I'm glad you can still watch. You don't need any tools to make these necklaces, just your hands. So this is how your necklace will look when it is worn. So it sits really lovely around the neckline, and you've got that lovely pretty scalloped edge. And they're really, really straightforward to make. It's going to be a quick make today because I'm not going to make the full length, but I'll show you the whole thing in terms of how you would construct it. So we're going to head down on the mat, and I'm going to move those off to the side for now and drop one on the floor. And then we will start making. So I'm going to use my tiger tail. I'm cutting for my tiger tail approximately 55 centimeters, which is about 22 inches, and I'm going to leave a little tail. What I am going to do is I'm going to add my bead stopper on. So I'm leaving a little tail, and I'm going to add my bead stopper just to make sure nothing's falling off. I'm just going to start sliding on my beads. So I'm going to have an 8mm pearl, and I'm going to slide that on. And then I'm going to do 6 of my 3mm pearls, and I will just slide them on. I've started to string already, and I'm just going to do the length of what I'm after. So for this design, I've used 18, I think, let me check. Yeah, 18 of the 8mm pearl. So I'm going to start with an 8mm pearl, and I will finish with an 8mm pearl. So 6 on in between, another 8mm, 6 3mm pearls, and another 8mm. And I'm just going to keep repeating that pattern until I've got the length that I'm after. So I'll be using 18 of those 8mm pearls. To slide my beads on, couldn't be any more straightforward. I'm just going to literally pick them up and add them onto the main body of my necklace. So I'm not going to be using a needle for this point here. I'm just going to be picking them up with my fingers. And sometimes when I take them off the strand, if I just line it up, my bead hole's in the right place, and I can just get them all on at once. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then an 8mm pearl. Another 6 3mm pearls. See if I can line it up. There you go. And then finishing with an 8mm pearl. So I'll do that until I've got 18 pieces of my pearls. I'm running out of these in this colour, so I'm just going to leave it as that for now. So there will be 18 of these, and that's going to give me a necklace which I feel is sitting nice to me. Of course, you can measure that, and you can measure it how you want to. When I've completed stringing on my main body of the necklace, which if I pick this one up, that is going to be this top section here. I'm then going to pick up my fire line. So what I'm liking about the fire line is I think it was originally used as fishing line. So you'll get like a weightage, so it'll say like £6 or whatever on it. This is in the colour smoke. If it's £6, I think that means it can hold a £6 fish. So you're not going to have really heavy beads in this kit because they're just glass pearls, but it's going to make sure it's really strong and sturdy. You'll see sometimes it does have a bit of kind of like a wax coating already on it. It just makes it really kind of easy to use, so it's not going to tangle. You know, I don't really like using like stitch cotton. I always end up getting tangled in knots, and I'm hoping I won't do today. But you're going to get no tangles or fraying with this. It's the thread's made so it'll prevent it from splitting or fraying, which makes it really user friendly, perfect for beginners like me or experienced beaders like you. It's waterproof as well, so you know it's perfect, ready to use. So that's why I'm using the fire line. I find that when I do use the fire line, it'll make, you know, if I compare the Tigertail, which is got lots of small fibres of wire kind of positioned together and then coated in a nylon, it's got like a strong structure to it, whereas although this is extremely strong, it's got a really nice fluidity with it. Hello Heather, how you doing? Oh, you're spinning bikes. That sounds exciting. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to thread on all the beads that I want to in the order that I'm going to go on to. And then I'm going to bring my thread onto my needle, and I'm just going to bring that through the bead. So in terms of the thread, I'm going to cut about 90 centimeters of the fire line, which is about 35 inches. I obviously won't need it for this length of necklace, but I won't waste this. What I will do is I'll add this onto like a chain or something, so I'm not wasting it. I'm going to keep a little tail on one end, and sometimes what I do is I just position the tail around my bead stopper just to stop it getting in the way. So I'm going to come through the first large 8mm pearl, and then I'm going to start adding on my 3mm pearls, and they're just going to go along the bottom. Now I've got 6 running across the top. I want 7 coming along the bottom. That's going to give me a little scalloped edge which sits slightly longer. So it's going to sit underneath those 6. So I'm just going to add 7. So just going to pick my beads up. And thread them onto my needle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to come back up through the bead. So I tend to leave a little bit of a tail at both ends. I'm going to bring it back through anyway to secure. But as I'm making, all I do is I will just push them up. So it's going to give me a little bit of space to get my beads and needle through. And then as I tighten and pull, obviously this will be, you can knot that as well at the end. That's just going to sit underneath. So shall we try and alternate the colours? Shall I do the gold kind of apricot-y colourway as well? Don't know how this is going to look. It might look quite gaudy mixing all 3. Whereas I think if I was mixing the rosewood and the iceberg and the light purple, that would have probably looked a bit of a nicer combination. But then, I don't know, this is feeling the Christmas vibes, this, isn't it? So 7 beads onto the bottom tail. And again, I'm just ignoring that top row, but just coming back through the 8mm pearl. And give it a gentle little pull just to tighten it up. So it is a nice quick make to do. Just make sure you've got 7 of the 3mm pearls on the bottom row and 6 on the top. Slide them down so they're going to sit nice and close to those 8mm pearls. And then I'm just going to pass the needle through. And just pull up so they sit nicely next to each other. Yeah, you could do it as a bracelet, Camille. I think I'll just make it as a small centre point of a necklace. Yours will go all the way around your neckline. So I think in total I've used 221 3mm pearls, I guess, and 18 pieces of the 8mm pearls. So I'm alternating the colours for this make today. So I'm using these ones out the apricot colourway. And we've got the green colourway and the red, beautiful ruby red. And I will tighten this up when I come to add my clasp on at the end. So sliding down the next 6 on the top and then adding on 7 to the bottom. Good morning, Yolanda. Yolanda says, good morning from the rainy state of Michigan. Hope everyone's doing well and it stays dry. I'm hoping it stays dry because, say, my house isn't quite watertight at the moment. I don't want it raining in my kitchen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the bottom. Hi Izzy, how are you doing? She says it's a beautiful morning in the Scottish Highlands and she's been hanging a washing out. Oh, I'm so jealous. Really missing my washing line. It's the simple things in life. So once I've added my 7 pearls on, I'm just passing through the 8mm bead, which is on the tiger tail. And again, I'll be positioning them so they all sit nice and close to each other. Threading these on. So I'm going to go for 7. Another reason why I'm not going to do the full necklace is once you've seen it, you've seen it. It's not going to be very exciting watching me count pearls. Camille says it kind of looks like bunting. I see like, like Christmas kind of garlands in this colour anyway. But yeah, it's like a lovely scalloped edge. I'll put one on for you so you can see how it looks around the neckline. Of course, if you want to make it sit differently, you just need to change the amount that you're running along the top and then ultimately what's running along the bottom. But you can just measure out that top bit and that will give you the length of the necklace that you require. Yeah, Christmas bunting, says Joanne. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Adding on 7. And I'm going to go all the way along with this until I've come through my last 8mm pearl, which would be on my project, my 18th pearl. And then I'll just give it a position. So if I give them a little gentle pull, they all start to kind of sit and run nicely underneath. Because I've got that extra 3mm pearl in this, it's going to just give it that lovely kind of hanging motion as they just move along. So once I've gone all the way along until I've come through that last 8mm pearl, I'm just going to start adding on my callotte, my crimp beads to my tiger tail, and I'm going to bring my fire line through the crimp beads and then start to knot. So you can knot your fire line as well, and you can knot that inside of your callotte. But what I tend to do is I'll bring it back through and then I'll just make some half hitch knots. So I have got quite a long length of all of my materials because I was making it true to length. So I'm just going to take my callottes and my crimp beads out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tiger tail and I'm going to add on one of my callottes like I would do normally. So it's going to go up right through the end. And then I'm also going to take 2 of my crimp beads and I'm going to slide them on. And then I'm going to take my fire line and I'm going to bring that up through the callotte as well. Don't worry too much about the tension at this point because I can tighten it up from the other end. But I'm going to bring that through. So I'm bringing it through the callotte. Again, if you want to, you can tie a little knot in the fire line. I'm also going to bring it up through the crimp beads. So let me just get those crimp beads separate. So pass the fire line through the crimps. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my crimping pliers, wherever I've put them, or my chain nose pliers, and I'm just going to flatten the crimp beads down. So I'll move this out for now so you can see. So I'm just going to flatten both of the crimp beads down. Let's see what I'm doing there. And then I will push the callotte up over it. And I'm going to close that like I would usually. But before I do, I'm going to bring my needle back down. So I'm going to come back, missing out the crimp beads, and just come back through that 8mm pearl. And then I'm going to do a half hitch knot. So I'm going to have my knot here between the 8mm pearl and then my 3mm pearls, and I'm going to knot over both the fire line and the tiger tail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a loop like so, and then just bring the needle back through that loop, and as I pull that down, it's going to create a little knot. And then I'm going to run it back through the 7 pearls at the bottom. So I'm probably going to run, given the fact I've got so much thread, I'm probably going to run this back through all of the pearls through the full necklace. And then I can continue to do little half hitch knots whenever I fancy, just to make it nice and secure. So make sure that you're keeping that tension nice. We want them nice and close. So if you want to, you can do another half hitch knot, or you can do this each time you come towards your 8mm pearl. That a little pull. That's nice and secure. And then back through the 8mm. So I'm just bringing the fire line through the fire line, if that makes sense. I'm not bringing it around the top row where the tiger tail is. But what I will do is I will, every now and again, do a little half hitch knot, and that will go around the tiger tail too. Just need to keep making sure that you're pushing up and creating that scalloped little edge. Passing it back through the 8mm bead. I think it's quite handy just doing one side and working backwards, because I can move these out the way to make sure I can get my needle through quite comfortably, and then it's just a case of pushing up afterwards. So there's no great big gaps at this bit. It's got a nice tension to it. If you want again, you can do half hitch knots. So I'm just going to make a little loop, so passing it round and back through. And then as I pull that down, that will tighten it in place. I've noticed when I'm stitching a project, like pick it up. I'm trying to keep it flat on the table so you can see what I'm doing. But I do like having it nice and close to my face when I'm stitching. I think my eyesight might be going a little bit. Might need glasses. Okay, keep giving it a little pull, making sure it's where I want it to be. So I'm bringing it through the 7 beads on the bottom. Pushing that up. Back through the 8mm. And you don't have to go all the way back up. You can just cut off as long as you cut off away from the knot. And I think I'm going to do that just to show you how to work it back on the other side. So when you are happy with how you've gone, I'll just give that a trim away at the moment until I finish the other side. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to thread that on to the other end of my file line. And then I'm going to get my callotte for the other side. I'm going to pass my needle up through the callotte as well. And then I'm going to add another 2 crimp beads. So I'm still crimping my tiger tail as I usually would, just to keep that callotte in place. I'm going to bring my file line up through the callottes, through the crimp beads as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make sure that I'm happy with the positioning of my thread and my beads, so it's nice and kind of tight before I crimp in my callottes, which is going to hold my, if I crimp my crimp beads, my callotte will be held in place. And then I'm going to bring the thread back down through the bead. I'm going to have to hold it up a little bit now. So just missing the crimp bead with the needle, and I want to just bring it out underneath that first 8mm pearl. The thread's come out my needle, so let me just reapply. This is why I like to have a tail to begin with, just so I can work it back through. There we go. And then again, I'm going to do a little half hitch knot. Probably could have done with a slightly longer thread. And I'm going to catch the thread so I can do that knot just underneath that bead, and then travel that back through the 7 beads at the bottom. Do half hitch knots again if I want to, and then just keep traveling it back through away from the knot before I cut off. Get back through that bead. Doesn't want to go. So when I'm happy with my necklace, you can see that I've got more fluidity on those bottom bits. I'm going to come in with my scissors or my cutters, and I'm just going to cut off my strands nice and close. Where's my other cutters? So that goes to show how strong the fire line is, because it doesn't want to cut. There you go. I've cut that a little bit closer and a bit neater. I'm going to take that other bit off as well. Oh my goodness. There you go. And then once I have worked back through, I'm going to take my ends of the tiger tail, and I'm just going to make sure I'm cutting the ends of the tiger tail off. So not cutting through that fire line. You can tie a knot in your fire line if you want to sit inside your callotte as well. Usually I'd want something to make sure that thread's not rubbing against my metal components, so it's not going to wear away. But the fire line's so strong, you'll see it's only just peeping over. Sorry, I'm not in shot at all. A tiny bit of in the callotte to come back through, and I've half hitched it there, so it's going to stay in place anyway. So just cut off any of the tiger tail. And then I'm going to fold over the callottes as usual. Get those little bits lined up and then gently press with my pliers just to close them. And then all I need to do is attach my jump rings and my clasp. Sally says, I'm loving those colours. They're ideal for Christmas. Oh, thanks. Brilliant tutorial, Natalie, as usual. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. No, there is no Christmas colourway, Victoria. I did it this way just because I've not got enough of my pearls left over, because I've used, 221 of the 3mm pearls for a full necklace, which is using 18 of the 8mm pearls. So we do have an offer on today. If I can show you, you would be able to get all three of the colours I've done. So we've got the ruby red one here, so it will be all in ruby red. I've got the apricot, so you'd have your beads in those colourways, and then the green would be all green. So each kit's going to make one necklace, and that's £5.99, but we've got a 2 for £10 on. So if you did want to multi-buy, you could 2 for 10 on the ruby red and the green, and you could do this kind of similar effect. So to attach my clasp, really straightforward. I've got a lovely clasp in my kit. They're like little rope toggles. Again, I think just tying in, really, it's like a little wreath. So we've got a lovely patina effect, so same on both sides. And all I need to do is take my 2 small jump rings out of my project. I'm going to give it a little twist to open and slide through the callotte. So where I've closed up that callotte and those 2 loops have come together, I can pass my jump ring through both and then attach on one part of my toggle, either the O-ring or the bar. And then the same on the opposite side. I'm just going to give it a little twist towards me to open, slide that jump ring through the callotte, and then attach the other part of my clasp. This time the bar. Just give that a little open further. Slide that on, and then just make sure that your jump rings are nicely closed together, and then they will hook through. This is actually a pretty little bracelet, isn't it? Well, if you want to make a bracelet, it works just the same. Let me get that through. There you go. A necklace for a dolly or a bracelet for your wrist. So I'll put one on and I'll show you the website again as well. So if you head over to totallybeads.co.uk, you'll be able to find your kits today. These are the Dolores pearl necklaces. Am I sharing? Is that sharing? Yeah. Okay, so we have an apricot. They're all £5.99 or 2 for 10. And I did use the apricot beads in this make today. We've got a green colourway, we have an iceberg blue, we have a light purple, we've got the very pretty rosewood, and we've got the ruby red as well, which I think today is my favourite. So they will look like this, all predominantly one colour. Each of your kit's going to contain your tiger tail, your thread, your callottes, your crimp beads, your jump rings, your toggle clasps, and 2 sizes of pearl in the same colours usually is the 3mm and the 8mm. If there's anything you want to see what's in there, then they're down there on the bottom. So there are Dolores necklaces today, and I hope you've enjoyed them. Hope my screen was working there. Let me lift this one back. Oh, I'll just push my necklace at the back to the side. So it sits like this. If I've put on 18, where's my ruler? If I've put on 18 of the large pearls, then with the clasp, that is bringing this necklace to about 18 inches. And that scallop goes all the way around right up to the clasp. So it fits really nice and comfortably. Having the tiger tail means I've got that lovely shape to the actual necklace, but these have got a little bit more fluidity and movement in the bottom. So it's a case of popping on an 8mm pearl and 6 small 3mm pearls, and then an 8, and then 6, and then 8. Just alternate all the way around till you've got that length that you want on the tiger tail, and then bringing your fire line through just to add 7 3mm pearls, going back up through the 8, adding on another 7, going back up through the 8, and so on and so forth until you have this lovely Dolores necklace, which I am going to be keeping on all day. I'm kind of in autumnal colours today, I suppose, and this is getting me in the mood for the festivities ahead. Very pretty, thank you, Natalie, says Rachel. Camille said I told you it was a bracelet. Well, it'll be too big as a bracelet for me. But yeah, you could have it as a bracelet. It fits better as a necklace. It was designed as a necklace because you got your swags at the bottom. But actually, they'd make cute little kind of garlands as well, wouldn't they? Thank you, Just Misha. Sweet necklace. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you very much. Anastasia says, thank you for the tutorial. You are most welcome. It's been my pleasure. Jan says, thank you, Natalie. Another beautiful tutorial. I can already imagine where it could be taken, looking back towards Victorian styles. Ooh. It reminds me of lace, I think, when you've got kind of like little scalloped edges. I mean, the design, I think, is perfect all year round, isn't it? I know most jewellery is, but I think these would look really sweet in, like, summer makes, depending on the colours that you use and you choose. But you could also layer them up if you wanted to make a smaller one and a longer one. I'm going to be back with you on Monday. I'm going to be doing some really pretty necklaces. It's going to be multi-layered. And I'm using some really lovely kind of connecting components. So I'm going to make what I refer to as like swags. And I'm going to leave it as that. If you want to find out what I'm doing, you're going to have to come and join me on Monday. Camille says, I've just started my Christmas cards. You are so organised. I haven't done anything. No, that's a lie. I've bought a couple of gifts. I have got a couple of gifts already. Yeah, so getting there. But if you do make, your jewellery to sell, and if you have got any like festive fairs coming up and artisanal and kind of craft fairs, then I would really suggest you get making, because it's going to be here before we know it. I hope you all have a really, really lovely rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday. So have a good one, everybody. I'm going to go and get a hot beverage. Might put some honey and lemon in it and carry on making. So have a lovely week, and I'll see you on Monday if you can be with me then. Take care, everyone.